Hello friends, and welcome once again to Figure Study, where, yes, more Tobots. This time, taking a look at what I would consider to be one of the most important Tobots that exists. Certainly the most important Tobot to me, and that is Tobot Adventure Z. Now the reason this guy is so important is because this is pretty much the gateway Tobot. Adventure Z is the Tobot that caught my eye and got me looking at other Tobots. And I feel like he's also kind of like the best place to start for anyone who's not sure about Tobots. Granted, there have been some changes over the years. This figure is several years old at this point, but he still holds up for one thing, and secondly, I think he's just a really good indicator of what you can expect from the rest of the line. I mean, I'm not saying he's the only one that you could start with, but I feel like he's probably, to this day, still one of the best, if not the best, Tobots to kick things off with if you're curious about the line. And it all started with Vangelis's video, and now here we are with way too many Tobots, because, yeah, no, I still have more. I still have more, so if you're tired of this, well, too bad. But anyway, Tobot Adventure Z is yet again another cute little cartoony, puffy-looking Kia vehicle. This one kind of an SUV-ish looking thing. And as is always the case, it looks good with a nice mixture of things like different colored plastics placed in the right spots and then paint here and there. So you've got this nice red all the way around, but then you've also got black for the windows, some black along the trim there, and of course the wheels. The rims they're actually solid plastic, they're not painted, but they are a different color, which is always nice. And then, of course, you've got the details on the back, including the Kia logo, which I believe this one was a sticker. I think I did actually put the stickers on this guy because his stickers are pretty low-key, but I don't quite remember. But then you can see there's like a Z in the little detailing back there where the license plate would be. And I still will always appreciate how they do the translucent red for the taillights to separate things out. And silver for the door handles, silver for the, I think that's just a rack for like if you want to put stuff on the roof or something like that. And then the different colored headlights, the black separating the front there. This grill bit is a sticker. And then the black and silver for the front there. Little vents on top. I love how there's just little bits all throughout this thing that separate the colors up. And then there's this. I hate this. I don't know how to remove this. I tried using some enamel thinner like I have with my paints, and it did absolutely nothing, but I'm hesitant to go at it with anything stronger because I don't want to damage the plastic. So by all means, if anyone out there is familiar with how to remove tampografs from plastic, or if anyone has removed this symbol from their own Tobot Adventure Z, by all means, please chime in, because I hate this and want it to go away. Which is why we're going to be looking at it from this side instead. But yeah, it's a puffy, cute, cartoony, SUV-ish vehicle, and not much else to say about it than that. But as I did mention, I do like how they really have a lot of little details that are separated out color-wise here. I feel like everything that's molded that needs to be a different color is a different color. I mean, there are certain concessions, obviously, like the windows themselves, the separation like between the window and the doors. Like the windows could be a slightly different color so that these stand out more. The windshield wipers could be different. There's nothing for the side mirrors, nothing for the windshield or rear windshield wiper. But overall, pretty much all the major stuff that needs to have different details has different details. And I very much appreciate that. As for size comparisons, it should come as absolutely no surprise that Tobot Adventure Z completely dwarfs a Siege Deluxe. And in addition to dwarfing a Siege Deluxe, he also dwarfs the Duck Tank. Alright, that is the vehicle mode out of the way. Let's get this in position, because as you'd expect, this is going to get even bigger when he expands into robot mode. And as is typical with Tobots, I will be walking through the transformations. So, to start, I'm going to come up here and pop these side doors out. Just a bit. Don't have to bring them out all the way. And back here, I'm going to give this a split. And that will help us to disengage from the top section back here. And now, as is always the case, or almost always the case with Tobots, there is a tow key. It is in my closet because I do not need it, because it's just go in there and twist it to separate the legs, and that's completely unnecessary. So, done that. Now, I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Just a little. No, we're not going to bring that down a little bit. We are going to pop this section out. This whole front section here will disengage. That should give us a little bit of clearance to bring this down. There we go. Yeah, okay. So bring that down a little bit. Straightening these out. And now, rotate this down and straighten out the leg. Flip out the toes and flip the wheels underneath right here and pull the legs apart so that we have actual legs, and I need to readjust, and this guy's going to fall, so 1 second. Okay, now from here, I'm going to kind of push down and tug out to pull out the arms. The reason we do that is because this section needs to flip up, and there are these little clips right in here that those will clip into, so just roll that back and make sure those clip. There we go. And the reason we want to do that is because it makes it a lot easier to get the doors here around those side mirrors. So we do that, then you can see there's the head there, and there's a little bit here you can push up. So you push that up and click that into place, and this will swing up, and there are these clips up here that'll clip back here. So just make sure those are clicked in place. Now, separate the arms. And this is the interesting sort of injection system that Vangelis was talking about, where you pull this out, swing it around, and this will line up in this hole over the wheel. And then you push it in, and it will click into place and turn that into a shoulder. And we can bring the arm down the rest of the way. Do the same over here. Pop that out, position it, and push it in. And straighten and turn, and there we go. Lastly, there are the doors. And these just flip in and clip right in there. You can see the clip and the post and the clip, whatever. Clip those together, and that gives him some shoulder rocket things, which is pretty cool. And that is that. And there we have Tobot Adventure Z in robot mode, and this is what really drew me to Tobots to begin with. The car mode looks solid for what it is, but it's, not the car itself isn't something that I find particularly interesting. It's not like, say, a little more centered here. It's not like, say, Tobot Evolution Y with the pretty slick looking car mode. This is not a very slick car mode at all. But that's what makes it really cool, because the car is kind of unassuming and it turns into a really cool looking robot. He looks buff. He looks imposing. The missile launcher shoulder things are also great. The way the car gets integrated here is really well done. I like how the car hood is still the chest, as is fairly typical of car formers, but instead of facing forward, it's facing down. I like how the doors curl around to make those shoulder pods. I like how the front windshield sections kind of flip up and make these sort of shoulder pauldrons. It's really good stuff. Color-wise, there's a good mixture here. It's still primarily red, but then you've still got hits of black here and there. Now you've got white and gray that are revealed, and orange. I like how there are some new colors that are added for the robot mode. And yet again, the distribution is pretty nice too. I mean, there are a couple of stickers here, specifically just on the these little gray bits on his feet. That's pretty much all you see in terms of stickers in robot mode, but still, the breakup of color is really great. Like, you've got the red going into the gray, going back to red, and then white and orange, and then the gray with the red, and then red and black, and gray and orange, red, black, silver, orange, gray, white, red, white. It's all broken up very nicely. And proportionally, he looks great. I mean, yeah, his proportions aren't perfect. His chest is quite wide, but not like overly wide, I don't think. I feel like this totally works for a surprisingly cool-looking cartoon robot. Getting into the details, I also like how the wheels kind of fold in to make the bottoms of his feet. Could do with some heels coming off the back here. That's kind of a shame, but it's workable. I am a little bit bummed about the gap in the shins here. I kind of wish there was some kind of, like, I've seen it done in other toys, not necessarily Tobots, though I think some have, with like a kind of spring-loaded door that comes out to fill in gaps, and then when you fold it in, it like would go back in. I kind of wish they had done something like that here, but whatever. The back of the car is just kind of on his calf, but it's pretty compacted in, so it doesn't really get in the way or stand out too much. The thighs actually have some nice detail in there too, like just this little robot-y line thing and little gear thing. And I like how there's the, move that out of the way. I like how this orange plastic here just kind of, it's just orange plastic. It's not painted from what I can tell, but I like how that little detail stands out. In the waist section, also nicely detailed with that Z. And the color for the red is definitely off. It's more of a maroon versus this stuff, which is like bright red. But because this is the belt buckle, it doesn't really bother me. I feel like that detail can be a different shade and it's fine. And then, of course, you got the car hood for the chest, which works out really well. And I love that the wheels just stay in the torso like that to kind of both get out of the way, but also not interrupt anything. Some nice, simple mechanical detail in the gray there with the orange highlights, and yet again, more texture there. And then my other gripe with this guy is the hands. I kind of really wish that you could flip these out so that they went straight out as opposed to being curled in like that. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but I do think it'd be nice if these could just come out a little bit more. And then we have the head, and first of all, I totally appreciate how they've got this kind of gray bit in here and just like this little bit of mechanical detail right under the neck. That is definitely a nice little added detail. And the head itself is nicely colored with primarily the metallic red, the black for the visor, white for the rest of the helmet, and the orange going across the top. And again, having the shades being a little bit different for the head doesn't really bother me. The shape is nice, looks pretty cool, almost kind of like a motorcycle helmet in a way. And people have pointed this out, and I myself absolutely love it as well. I love the fact that, unlike Tobot Evolution Y, where the visor was a Y shape, here the detailing around the visor is a Z, and a mirrored Z. That's really cool, because like it doesn't look like a Z from the front, and if you're not really looking for it, it doesn't necessarily come off as a Z when you're looking at it from the side either. So again, as with Evolution Y, the way they incorporated the Tobot's letter into its design is really well done. It's really clever. And yeah, this guy's just cool. I really, really like this robot mode. It feels like a robot this cool should not come out of a vehicle that looks that mundane. So, getting Adventure Z back into position so we can do our size comparisons here. Surprise, surprise, Tobot Adventure Z is massive compared to a Siege Deluxe. And he's also no slouch when put next to the Duck Tank. And that is going to do it for Tobot Adventure Z. As I said, I think this guy is probably one of, if not the best, sort of intro to Tobots figures. He still holds up remarkably well, even though this is one of the older designs. I do have some nitpicks here and there, like the gaps in the shins and the weird angle of the wrists. And yeah, articulation is limited because, you know, it's Tobot. I mean, it's not bad, but like he doesn't have thigh swivels, he doesn't have a waist swivel. For some reason, the ratchets in the shoulders going out, they're not symmetrical, so like one arm is always kind of cocked slightly more out than the other. A little bit annoying, but not a huge deal. The head is on a ball joint that was actually very loose when I first got the figure. I ended up having to disassemble the head because it's the way it's attached. You can't just pop it off. So I disassembled the head and did the paper towel trick, which if you're not familiar with the paper towel trick, I will include a link up there. But basically just added a little bit of paper towel, screwed the head back together, and that tightened it up enough so that it doesn't feel super floppy. I mean, it would hold a pose, but it just felt way too loose for my taste, so tightened it up a little bit. But overall, just a great figure. And one other thing too, I mean, look at this. There's no backpack on this guy. His back is completely flat. Yeah, you've still got car bits on him here and there, but like they're not intrusive really. And that's just fantastic. I will always be in awe of how some Tobots, despite their simplicity, are actually cleaner than some Transformers. It's really, really kind of impressive. But anyway, that is enough of Tobot Adventure Z. What do you all think? Any of you out there who collect Tobots, do you have any fond memories of this guy? Am I just the only one who has this guy as sort of like the gateway? Even though I didn't actually get him until after I'd already gotten several Tobots, but still, that video was the gateway. And again, if you collect Tobots, how do you feel Adventure Z stacks up to some of the newer stuff? Because personally, I feel like he's got some of the older Tobot jank, like some loose joints here and there, like the ratchets and the knees could be a little bit tighter and stuff, but like overall, I feel like this guy still holds up really well. Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. And while you're at it, also feel free to like, subscribe, or if you're feeling generous, you can buy me a coffee, link in the description below. Any of those things would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.